Hello everyone, welcome to the English Globe. I hope you're all doing well today. In this episode, we'll be talking about something that's really important, especially when life gets tough. How to stay mentally strong in tough times. Life can sometimes throw unexpected challenges at us, whether it's school stress, work pressure, or personal difficulties. But what does it mean to be mentally strong? And how can we keep going, even when things aren't easy? Well, today, we're going to explore some strategies, share personal stories, and talk about ways you can stay strong in difficult situations. So whether you're going through a hard time or just want to be prepared for the future, this episode is for you.
Thanks, Adam. So, I want to start by sharing a little personal story with you. A while ago, I was facing a tough situation in my life. I had a lot going on: work, family, and some personal struggles. And I felt completely overwhelmed. There were days when I felt like giving up and I didn't know how I was going to get through it. But over time, I learned that it wasn't about avoiding hard times. Instead, it was about finding ways to deal with them, to keep going even when it felt impossible. One thing that really helped me was focusing on the little steps I could take each day, rather than stressing about the big picture. And that's something we're going to talk about today: how to stay mentally strong and keep moving forward even when life gets difficult.
That's such an important point, Julia. Sometimes it's not about fixing everything at once, but rather focusing on those small, manageable steps. And I know that a lot of people listening today might feel like they're struggling with similar challenges. Whether it's work, school, or just life in general, tough times are a part of everyone's journey. But the good news is, there are ways to build mental strength and learn how to stay resilient through it all. Julia and I will be discussing some of these ways today. We'll share strategies, tips, and personal experiences to help you navigate tough times and keep moving forward with confidence. So, if you're ready, let's dive in. So, let's start by defining what we mean by mental strength. Mental strength isn't about never feeling stressed, sad, or upset. It's not about being tough all the time or hiding your emotions. In fact, being mentally strong doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It's about how you handle challenges, how you bounce back from difficult situations, and how you keep going even when life feels hard. Mental strength is the ability to face adversity with a positive mindset, to keep a sense of balance, and to make decisions that support your well-being, even when things aren't perfect. It's the ability to stay calm, stay focused, and keep moving forward, even in the face of difficulties.
That's such a great way to put it, Adam. And you know, when I think about mentally strong people, I think of someone like my grandmother. She's an amazing example of mental strength. A few years ago, she went through a serious illness, and it was a really tough time for her. But instead of focusing on how sick she felt, she focused on what she could do to feel better each day. She didn't let the challenges control her. Instead, she took small steps every day to improve. She made sure to keep a positive attitude even when it wasn't easy. And that's a big part of mental strength. It's about not letting difficult situations define you or stop you from living your life.
I love that example, Julia. Your grandmother sounds like a true example of mental strength. And what's so inspiring about stories like hers is that mental strength is something anyone can develop. You don't have to be born mentally strong, and it's not something that just happens overnight. It's something you can work on, little by little, day by day. For example, mentally strong people are those who embrace challenges instead of avoiding them. When they face obstacles, they see them as opportunities to grow rather than as barriers that will stop them. It's about accepting that life won't always be easy, and that difficulties are a natural part of life. Mentally strong people also take responsibility for their actions and their mindset. They don't blame others for their struggles. Instead, they focus on what they can control. And when they do make mistakes, they don't let it discourage them. They learn from their mistakes, and they keep going. It's this mindset that helps them keep pushing forward, even when the going gets tough.
Exactly. And another thing I've noticed about mentally strong people is that they don't let fear control them. A lot of times, when we're faced with something difficult, we can get scared. Fear can make us feel small and like we can't handle things. But mentally strong people don't let fear stop them. They acknowledge the fear, but they don't let it take over. Instead of being afraid of the challenge, they face it head-on, with the understanding that they might fail. But that doesn't mean it's the end. They know that they can learn from failure and come out stronger on the other side.
That's so important, Julia. Mental strength isn't about being fearless. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it, because you know that facing those fears can lead to growth and new opportunities. And this is especially true in tough times. When life feels uncertain or overwhelming, mentally strong people keep their focus on what they can control. They don't waste energy on things they can't change. Instead, they take practical actions to improve their situation, even if those actions are small. Over time, these small steps build up, and they start to feel more in control, even when things around them feel out of control.
Right. And another characteristic of mentally strong people is their ability to stay positive, even when things aren't perfect. I don't mean that they ignore the bad stuff or pretend that everything is okay, but they don't let negative situations drag them down. They look for the silver lining, even when it's hard to see. They focus on the things they're grateful for, even in difficult moments. For example, even on the worst days, they might still find something to appreciate, whether it's the support of friends and family, a beautiful sunset, or the opportunity to learn from a tough situation. This kind of positive thinking can really help you get through the toughest of times.
Exactly, Julia. That positive thinking doesn't mean pretending that things are perfect. It's about choosing how to respond to challenges. Mental strength is about having that mental flexibility, the ability to adjust your mindset when you face setbacks. Instead of letting a difficult situation define you, mentally strong people decide how they want to respond to it. And this is so important because in tough times, it's easy to feel stuck, like there's no way out. But when you have mental strength, you realize that you have choices. You can choose to take action, to stay calm, and to keep moving forward.
I think that's such a powerful message, Adam. Mental strength really helps you take control of your life, especially when things feel out of control. It's about believing in yourself and knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. Whether it's school exams, family issues, or personal challenges, having mental strength gives you the confidence to face those difficulties with resilience and hope.
Exactly. And that's why mental strength is so important. It's not just about surviving tough times, it's about thriving in them, learning from them, and coming out stronger. In the next part of this podcast, we'll talk about some practical ways you can build mental strength no matter what challenges you're facing.
When we talk about staying mentally strong, it's important to recognize the kinds of challenges that we all face in our daily lives. These challenges can come in many forms, and each one can test our mental strength in different ways. One of the most common struggles is stress. Stress can come from many sources: work, school, relationships, even financial problems. Sometimes we feel like we have so much to do and so little time, and that pressure can start to build up. We might start to feel overwhelmed, like we can't handle everything on our plate. And when stress becomes constant, it can take a real toll on our mental health. Another challenge many people face is sadness. It's normal to feel sad sometimes, especially when we experience loss, disappointment, or things don't go as planned. But for some, sadness can become more persistent, turning into feelings of hopelessness or even depression. It can affect your energy, motivation, and overall outlook on life. You might start to feel like nothing is worth it, and that can make it harder to stay mentally strong. Then there's pressure. Pressure is something that many people feel, especially when they're trying to meet expectations, whether it's at school, at work, or in their personal lives. We all have goals and dreams, but sometimes the pressure to succeed can become too much. It's like carrying a heavy weight around, and if we don't learn how to manage that pressure, it can become overwhelming. And when pressure builds up, it can lead to anxiety and self-doubt, making it even harder to stay focused and positive. And let's not forget about self-doubt. This is something I think we all experience from time to time. It's that little voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, or you'll never succeed. It's easy to let that voice control you, especially when you're facing difficult challenges. But self-doubt doesn't have to define who you are or what you can achieve. Recognizing it is the first step in overcoming it. And that's something we can work on as we talk about how to stay mentally strong.
You're absolutely right, Julia. All of those challenges, stress, sadness, pressure, and self-doubt, are things that affect everyone at some point in their lives. And when these challenges pile up, they can have a significant impact on our mental health. Let's take stress as an example. When we're stressed, our bodies react in ways that can affect our minds. We might feel anxious, irritable, or even exhausted. Stress can interfere with our ability to think clearly, make decisions, or stay focused on the things we need to do. It can also affect our sleep, our relationships, and our overall well-being. Over time, if we don't manage stress properly, it can lead to burnout or even more serious mental health issues like anxiety and depression. The same goes for sadness. It's one thing to feel sad after a difficult event, like losing a job or going through a breakup. But if sadness lingers, it can affect our mental health in deeper ways. When we feel down for a long time, it can become harder to see the positive side of things, and we might start to isolate ourselves from others. We may lose interest in activities we once enjoyed, and our motivation to do even basic tasks can drop. This can create a cycle where sadness makes us feel worse, which then leads to more sadness, and so on. Pressure is another challenge that can really mess with our mental health. When we feel like there's so much at stake, whether it's in our jobs, our studies, or in our personal lives, it can create a lot of anxiety. The constant worry about whether we're doing enough or being good enough can lead to feelings of inadequacy. And when we don't know how to deal with that pressure, it can start to affect how we see ourselves. We might begin to doubt our abilities or feel like we're failing, even when we're actually doing our best. This can lead to a negative cycle of stress and anxiety that makes it even harder to perform at our best. And then there's self-doubt, which often comes hand in hand with pressure and stress. When we're under pressure to succeed, we can easily start questioning ourselves. Am I good enough? Do I have what it takes to succeed? These thoughts can really lower our self-esteem and make it harder to stay motivated. Self-doubt is something that many of us experience, but it can become dangerous if we let it control us. When we start doubting ourselves too much, it can prevent us from taking risks, trying new things, or moving forward in life. It's like being stuck in a mental fog, where everything feels uncertain and nothing feels possible. These challenges, stress, sadness, pressure, and self-doubt, are all things that affect our minds in powerful ways. And when we don't address them, they can grow bigger and harder to manage. But here's the thing. Just because these challenges are difficult, it doesn't mean we can't handle them. In fact, by recognizing these challenges and understanding how they affect us, we're already taking the first step toward building mental strength. The more we learn about how these challenges impact us, the more we can do to protect our mental health and stay strong when times get tough.
I couldn't agree more, Adam. It's easy to feel like we're alone in facing these challenges, but the truth is, everyone experiences them in some form. The good news is, once we understand how these struggles affect our minds, we can take action to manage them. And by doing so, we can protect our mental health and continue to grow stronger, even in tough times.
Exactly, Julia. And as we move forward in this podcast, we'll discuss some practical ways to handle these challenges, starting with strategies for managing stress, building resilience against sadness, handling pressure without letting it overwhelm us, and overcoming self-doubt. We're going to dive into how you can tackle each of these challenges with a positive mindset and build the mental strength you need to move forward. All right, now that we've discussed some of the common challenges that can affect our mental health, let's talk about how we can stay mentally strong during tough times. Building mental strength is something that takes time, but it's also something we can actively work on every single day. There are several strategies you can practice that will help you build and maintain mental strength. One of the most important strategies is positive thinking. When we face difficult situations, it's easy to get stuck in negative thought patterns. We might start thinking, "This is impossible," or "I can't do this." But the truth is, your thoughts have a huge impact on how you feel and how you handle challenges. By choosing to think positively, you can shift your perspective and see obstacles as opportunities instead of problems. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring the difficulties or pretending everything is okay. It means focusing on what you can control and looking for solutions rather than staying stuck in the problem. For example, if you're feeling stressed about a big exam, instead of thinking, "I'm going to fail," try thinking, "I've prepared as much as I can, and I will do my best." It's about focusing on your efforts, not just the outcome. And the more you practice positive thinking, the easier it becomes to stay calm and focused in tough situations. Another key strategy for building mental strength is setting goals. Having clear, achievable goals gives you something to focus on and work toward, even when things feel difficult. Goals help you stay motivated and provide a sense of purpose. When we set goals, we break down larger challenges into smaller, more manageable tasks. This makes it easier to take action and stay on track, even when obstacles arise. It also helps you feel a sense of accomplishment along the way, which can boost your confidence and strengthen your mindset. When setting goals, it's important to make them specific and realistic. For example, instead of saying, "I want to be successful," set a goal like, "I will spend 30 minutes every day working on my personal development." By focusing on smaller, achievable steps, you can build momentum and stay mentally strong, no matter how challenging things get.
I completely agree with you, Adam. Positive thinking and goal setting are definitely two strategies that I use every day to stay mentally strong. For example, when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, I always try to focus on what I can control. A few months ago, I was dealing with a big project at work, and I was really nervous about getting everything done on time. But instead of letting myself panic, I reminded myself that stressing about the situation wouldn't help. So, I focused on making a plan, breaking the project into smaller tasks, and setting realistic deadlines. I also reminded myself to celebrate small victories along the way, like finishing a task or meeting a mini goal. It helped me stay motivated, even when the project felt like a lot to handle. Another thing that really helps me stay mentally strong is taking care of myself physically. It might seem simple, but getting enough sleep, eating healthy, and exercising regularly really make a difference in how we feel mentally. When I'm feeling tired or low energy, it's much harder to think clearly or stay positive. So I make sure to take care of my body so I can keep my mind strong. For example, I try to go for a walk every morning to clear my head and get my day started with positive energy. It doesn't have to be anything intense. Just a little bit of physical activity can help reduce stress and improve my mood.
I love that, Julia. Taking care of your body is such an important part of building mental strength. Our physical health and mental health are closely connected. When we're physically tired or not feeling our best, it's harder to stay mentally strong. So, making time for physical self-care, whether it's through exercise, sleep, or eating well, is essential for maintaining your mental health. But there's another key aspect of staying mentally strong, and that's resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after facing a setback or hardship. It's about not letting failures or challenges define you, but instead using them as opportunities to grow. For example, let's say you've been working really hard on something, but things don't go as planned. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted, or your project didn't turn out the way you hoped. It's easy to get discouraged and give up, but resilient people don't let setbacks stop them. They see failure as a learning experience, and they use it as motivation to keep going. They adapt, they learn from their mistakes, and they get back up stronger than before. This ability to keep moving forward, even after things don't go the way you expected, is what makes people resilient. Resilience also involves staying calm in the face of adversity. It's easy to get caught up in panic when things aren't going well. But mentally strong people know how to stay calm, breathe, and focus on finding a solution rather than letting their emotions take control. For example, if you're facing a tough situation at work or school, instead of immediately feeling anxious or overwhelmed, try taking a step back, breathing deeply, and thinking through the best way to approach the problem. By staying calm, you can make better decisions and find the best way to move forward.
That's such a good point, Adam. Resilience is about perspective. It's about looking at setbacks not as failures, but as lessons that help us grow. And one way I practice resilience in my own life is by remembering that tough times don't last forever. I've been through challenging situations before, and I've always come out on the other side. I remind myself that even though things might be hard right now, things will improve. Sometimes, just remembering that things won't always stay difficult helps me stay calm and focused. And like you mentioned, staying calm is key. When I feel overwhelmed, I try to practice mindfulness, which helps me stay in the present moment and stop myself from spiraling into worry. Taking deep breaths, meditating for a few minutes, or just focusing on one task at a time helps me stay grounded. The more I practice staying calm in stressful situations, the easier it becomes to handle whatever life throws my way.
That's such a great strategy, Julia. Staying calm and practicing mindfulness really does make a huge difference. It helps clear your mind so you can think more clearly and make better decisions. And ultimately, building mental strength is all about taking care of your mind and body, staying resilient, and practicing positive thinking. These are all skills that take time to develop, but with practice, you'll find that you can face challenges with a stronger, more positive mindset. Remember, mental strength isn't about being perfect or never struggling. It's about how you respond when things get tough.
When it comes to staying mentally strong, one of the most important aspects that we sometimes overlook is the role of support. No one is an island. We can't expect to go through life's challenges all by ourselves. And in fact, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. One of the best sources of support comes from the people around us, our family, our friends, and our loved ones. Sometimes, when we're struggling, we may feel like we're burdening others by asking for help, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Our friends and family want to be there for us, just like we want to be there for them when they need support. For me personally, whenever I'm going through tough times, I make it a point to reach out to someone I trust. Whether it's my parents, my close friends, or even a mentor, just talking to someone can really make a difference. Sometimes, just saying what's on my mind out loud helps me clear my thoughts and see things more clearly. And often, they can offer advice, encouragement, or simply a listening ear that makes me feel supported and less alone. Even if they don't have all the answers, the fact that they're there for me can make me feel a lot stronger in those difficult moments. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we have to do everything on our own. But the truth is, reaching out for help is an important part of maintaining our mental health. No matter how strong we are, we all need a support system to help us navigate tough times. And when we open up to others, we give them the chance to help us, which strengthens our relationships and makes us feel more connected.
Absolutely, Julia. Reaching out for support is one of the most powerful things we can do when we're facing challenges. As humans, we're social creatures, and we thrive in environments where we feel connected to others. It's easy to isolate ourselves when we're going through difficult situations because we might feel embarrassed, ashamed, or like we're burdening others. But in reality, when we open up and share our struggles, we not only get the help we need, but we also strengthen our relationships with the people who care about us. When we talk about support, it doesn't always have to be in the form of advice. Sometimes, what we really need is someone to just listen and let us express ourselves. It's amazing how much of a difference it can make just to have someone by your side who listens without judgment. They don't need to solve your problems. They just need to be there. and that alone can help relieve some of the weight you're carrying. One thing I encourage our listeners to do is to build a support network. This can be made up of people who genuinely care about you, like close family members, friends, or even colleagues. These are the people you can turn to when you're feeling low, when you need advice, or when you just need to vent. The more we surround ourselves with a positive support system, the more resilient we become. It's not just about receiving support, but also about offering support to others. When we give back, we create a cycle of positive energy and understanding that helps everyone involved.
That's such an important point, Adam. It's not just about getting support. It's also about giving it. When we are there for others, we strengthen the bond we share with them, and it creates a sense of community and trust. It's a two-way street. I've found that when I support my friends or family during their tough times, it helps me feel more connected to them, and it makes me realize that we're all in this together. Life can be challenging, but it's much easier to navigate when we know we have a support system to lean on. And one thing that I've learned over the years is that we don't always need to seek help only when things are going wrong. Sometimes just spending time with the people who care about us, even when things are going well, helps to strengthen those connections. That way, when tough times do come, we already have a solid foundation of support to rely on. So, it's not just about asking for help during the hard times, but also nurturing our relationships so that we have a support network in place long before we need it. Another thing I want to mention is that support doesn't always have to come from people we know personally. Sometimes it can also be helpful to seek professional support, such as a therapist or counselor. There's no shame in asking for help from a professional. In fact, doing so shows a lot of strength because it's a way to take care of yourself and your mental health. There's nothing wrong with seeking professional advice or just talking things through with someone who is trained to help. It's important to remember that mental health professionals are there to guide us, and they can help us develop strategies to cope with the challenges we face.
You bring up a great point, Julia. Seeking professional help can be incredibly valuable. It's something that I think a lot of people shy away from, but it can make all the difference in helping someone process their feelings and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Sometimes we're not equipped to handle everything on our own, and that's okay. It's okay to lean on others, whether they're friends, family, or a trained professional. There's strength in seeking help, and it's a proactive step towards staying mentally strong. Now, let's talk about the importance of social connections in maintaining mental strength. Social connections are not just about having people around you. They're about forming meaningful relationships that contribute to your overall well-being. Research has shown that people who have strong social support are more likely to have better mental health and are better able to handle stress. Positive social connections help reduce feelings of loneliness, increase our sense of belonging, and give us a sense of purpose. When we feel connected to others, we're more likely to feel empowered and resilient in the face of challenges.
Yes, social connections really are key. I think one of the most important aspects of having good social connections is quality over quantity. It's not about how many people you know, but how deep and meaningful those relationships are. A few close, supportive friends are worth far more than dozens of acquaintances. The deeper your connections, the stronger your support system becomes. So take the time to nurture those relationships, whether it's through regular check-ins, spending time together, or simply showing that you care. It doesn't have to be complicated, but the effort you put into your relationships will pay off when you need support the most.
Exactly, Julia. The quality of your connections is what really counts. And as we wrap up this section, I just want to encourage everyone listening to remember that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to lean on others during tough times, and you don't have to face challenges alone. Whether it's family, friends, or a professional, support is there, and reaching out for it is one of the best things you can do for your mental well-being. Now, let's talk about the power of building a routine and how it can really help strengthen your mental health. One of the most important ways to stay mentally strong, especially during difficult times, is by creating a sense of stability and structure in your day. When life feels chaotic or overwhelming, a daily routine provides a sense of control. It helps reduce anxiety because it takes the guesswork out of the day and allows you to focus on what matters most. A routine doesn't have to be rigid or complicated. In fact, it's about finding what works best for you and making sure that it includes activities that promote both physical and mental well-being. The benefits of having a daily routine are endless. First, it helps with time management. When you have a clear plan for your day, you can prioritize tasks and make sure you're staying on track. This can help reduce feelings of stress because you'll feel like you're accomplishing things rather than letting them pile up. Another benefit of having a routine is that it helps build healthy habits. When you establish a routine, you're more likely to make time for things that improve your mental strength, such as exercise, meditation, or getting enough sleep. These small, consistent actions can have a big impact on your overall well-being. And most importantly, a routine can give you something to look forward to, even when things are tough. When life feels uncertain or stressful, having a routine can provide a sense of comfort and normalcy.
I completely agree, Adam. A routine is such a powerful tool for mental strength. It's not just about managing time. It's about creating a foundation for your day that helps you stay balanced and focused. For me, having a routine really helps me feel like I'm in control, especially when I'm going through tough situations. A good routine gives you something to hold on to when everything else feels unpredictable. One thing I've learned is that it's important to start small when building a routine, especially if you're not used to having one. It's easy to get overwhelmed if you try to do too much at once. Instead, I recommend starting with just a few key activities that help you feel grounded and then gradually adding more over time. For example, a simple daily routine could look like this. Morning. Start your day by waking up at the same time every day. Try to avoid hitting the snooze button, as that can throw off your morning rhythm. After waking up, I like to spend a few minutes doing some light stretching or yoga to get my body moving and clear my mind. This helps me feel more energized and ready for the day ahead. I also make sure to drink a glass of water, as staying hydrated is essential for both mental and physical health. Mid-morning. I take a few minutes for mindfulness or meditation. It doesn't have to be long, just 5 to 10 minutes of deep breathing or guided meditation helps me center myself and focus on the present moment. Meditation helps reduce stress and improves concentration, so I find it's a great way to start my workday with a calm and clear mind. Afternoon. I make sure to take short breaks throughout the day. Even when I'm busy, I try to step away from my work for a few minutes, take a walk, or do something that gives me a mental break. It's so easy to get caught up in work and forget to take care of yourself. But those small breaks actually improve productivity and help you stay focused. Plus, taking a moment for yourself is a great way to recharge. Evening. After finishing my work or daily tasks, I try to spend time doing something relaxing that I enjoy. It could be reading a book, going for a walk, or spending time with my loved ones. It's important to wind down and give yourself some time to relax before going to bed. I also make sure to get a good night's sleep. This is one of the most important elements of my routine. Sleep is crucial for mental health, and having a consistent bedtime routine helps ensure that I'm well rested and ready to take on the next day. Before bed. To prepare for sleep, I avoid screens like my phone or computer at least 30 minutes before bed. Instead, I might read or listen to calming music. This helps me unwind and get into a restful state before sleep. I also try to reflect on my day, maybe even jotting down a few things I'm grateful for. Practicing gratitude is a great habit for staying positive and mentally strong, especially on challenging days.
I love your routine, Julia. It's simple, but so effective. It's really important to prioritize self-care in the morning and evening, as well as throughout the day. The routine you've shared focuses on physical well-being, mental clarity, and relaxation, which are all essential for mental strength. And as you mentioned, it's not about being perfect. It's about consistency. Even if some days don't go exactly as planned, the key is to stick with it as much as possible and make adjustments along the way. Another thing I want to emphasize is that your routine doesn't have to look the same every day. Some days, you might need more rest or time for yourself, and other days, you might be able to be more productive. It's about flexibility and listening to your body and mind. The goal is to create a routine that works for you, gives you structure, and supports your mental health. One great thing about building a routine is that it also helps with accountability. When you have a plan for your day, you're more likely to follow through with your goals. Whether that's exercising, finishing a project, or simply taking time to relax, a routine helps you stay on track and feel accomplished. And over time, the consistency of your routine will help build your mental strength, making it easier to face any challenges that come your way. Now, let's talk about something that affects all of us: negative thoughts. No matter how strong we try to be, there are moments when our minds fill with doubts, fears, and negativity. It's completely natural to have negative thoughts from time to time, especially during tough situations. But if we don't manage them properly, they can take over our minds and affect our mental strength. So what exactly are negative thoughts? They can come in many forms: self-doubt, fear of failure, overthinking, or even comparing ourselves to others. These thoughts often make us feel discouraged, unmotivated, or even stuck. And the problem is, the more we focus on them, the stronger they become. That's why learning to manage and reframe negative thoughts is an important part of building mental strength.
Yes, and I can say from experience that negative thoughts can be very tricky. They often feel so real in the moment, but most of the time, they're just stories we tell ourselves. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed"? These thoughts can feel overwhelming, but the truth is, they are not facts. They are just opinions created by our own fears and insecurities. One way I've learned to manage negative thoughts is by challenging them. Whenever I have a negative thought, I ask myself, is this thought actually true? Do I have real evidence for it? Most of the time, the answer is no. It's just my mind playing tricks on me. For example, if I think, "I'll never be able to handle this situation," I stop and ask myself, have I handled difficult situations before? And the answer is usually yes. That helps me realize that my mind is just focusing on the negative rather than the reality.
That's a great strategy, Julia. Another powerful way to manage negative thoughts is by reframing them. Instead of letting them control you, try to turn them into something more positive. For example, instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I can learn how to do this." Instead of thinking, "Everything is going wrong," say, "This is a tough moment, but it will pass." Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," remind yourself, "I am doing my best, and that's enough." By changing how we talk to ourselves, we can shift our mindset and reduce the power of negative thoughts.
Yes, and another great technique is practicing self-compassion. Imagine if a close friend came to you feeling down, saying negative things about themselves. Would you agree with them? Of course not. You would encourage them, remind them of their strengths, and lift them up. So why not do the same for yourself? When I catch myself being too hard on myself, I stop and think, how would I talk to a friend in this situation? And then I try to speak to myself with the same kindness. Mental strength isn't about being tough on yourself. It's about learning to support yourself, even during hard times.
That's such an important point, Julia. Another helpful tool is practicing mindfulness. A lot of negative thoughts come from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. But if we focus on the present moment, what's happening right now, we can stop our minds from spiraling into negativity. Simple things like deep breathing, meditation, or even just taking a few minutes to appreciate the moment can help us regain control over our thoughts. At the end of the day, our thoughts shape our reality. If we let negativity take over, it can weaken our mental strength. But if we learn to challenge, reframe, and manage those thoughts, we can stay strong no matter what life throws our way. As we come to the end of today's episode, let's quickly recap some of the key points we've discussed. First of all, we've talked about the importance of mental strength, which is all about being able to stay resilient, positive, and focused, even in the face of challenges. We discussed how mental strength is built through mindset, habits, and the support we receive from others. It's not about being invincible or never feeling down, but rather about how we respond when tough times come our way. And that response, our attitude, our actions, and the choices we make, can make all the difference in how we cope. We also talked about the common challenges that many of us face, such as stress, sadness, and pressure. These are natural emotions that everyone experiences, but they can sometimes feel overwhelming. What's important to remember is that these feelings are temporary, and there are ways to manage them, whether it's through building mental strength, developing a supportive network, or creating a structured routine to keep us grounded. One of the most important takeaways today is the idea that support is essential. Whether it's reaching out to friends, family, or professionals, we don't have to face tough times alone. Asking for help and leaning on others is a sign of strength, and it can make a huge difference in how we handle life's challenges. And don't forget the power of social connections. The deeper the connections you have with others, the stronger your support network will be. Finally, we discussed how building a routine can help create structure, reduce stress, and keep us mentally strong. A routine gives us control over our day and helps us build positive habits that benefit our mental health, like exercise, mindfulness, and rest. Whether it's your morning ritual or your evening wind down, having a routine is an essential part of staying mentally strong.
Yes, and I want to leave you with a few pieces of final advice that I've learned over the years about staying strong and positive, even when life gets tough. First, I want to remind you that it's okay not to be okay. You don't have to have everything figured out all the time. It's completely normal to feel overwhelmed, stressed, or even a little lost. What matters is that you take steps to care for yourself and give yourself the time and space to heal. Be kind to yourself, and don't expect perfection. Secondly, try to practice gratitude every day. I know it can be hard, especially when life feels challenging, but finding just one thing to be thankful for can really shift your mindset. It can be something as simple as being grateful for a good cup of coffee in the morning or having someone to talk to at the end of the day. Gratitude helps you focus on what you have rather than what you don't, and it can boost your mental strength in a big way. Also, remember that it's okay to take small steps. Building mental strength doesn't happen overnight. It's about consistency, patience, and practicing the strategies we've discussed today. Even if you only make a little progress each day, that's still progress. And over time, those small steps will add up, and you'll find that you're much stronger than you thought. Lastly, don't be afraid to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. Whether it's getting through a tough day, sticking to your routine, or reaching out for support, each of those things is a victory. Celebrate your efforts and give yourself credit for the hard work you're putting in. The more you recognize and appreciate your achievements, the more confident and positive you'll feel.
That's such great advice, Julia. It's so easy to get caught up in the pressure to always be on and to feel like we need to be perfect. But the truth is, mental strength isn't about perfection. It's about resilience and the ability to bounce back from setbacks. It's about staying positive, seeking support, and taking small steps toward bettering yourself, even in difficult times. And just like Julia said, progress is progress. Don't underestimate the power of the small changes you make each day. As we wrap up today's podcast, I encourage all of you to take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. Maybe there's one strategy that stood out to you, whether it's building a routine, practicing gratitude, or reaching out for support, that you can start incorporating into your life right away. Start small, be patient with yourself, and remember that mental strength is something we can all work on, one day at a time. We hope this podcast has helped you feel more equipped to handle the tough times that life may throw your way. You don't have to go through it alone. We all have the power to be mentally strong, and by practicing the strategies we've talked about today, you can build the resilience needed to overcome any obstacle. So, Take it one step at a time, stay positive, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for joining us today on this journey toward building mental strength. Whether you're dealing with difficult situations right now or just trying to improve your overall mental health, we hope that today's podcast has offered some valuable insights and practical strategies that you can start using in your own life. It's important to remember that mental strength isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process. It takes time, practice, and a lot of self-compassion. But with small steps each day, you can build the resilience needed to handle whatever life throws at you. Stay consistent with the tools and techniques we've shared today and keep pushing forward even when the road feels tough. You're stronger than you think. On behalf of Julia and myself, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. We truly appreciate your support, and we're honored to be part of your journey toward mental strength. You are never alone in this process, and you've already made an important step by tuning in today. Now, it's time to take what you've learned and apply it to your own life.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. It's been such a pleasure discussing these strategies with you today. We hope you feel empowered to take control of your mental health and start building your own mental strength. And remember, it's okay to have difficult days. Life isn't perfect, but you have the strength to get through it, no matter what comes your way. Before we finish, I want to invite all of you to engage with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences about mental strength and how you stay positive in tough times. Please feel free to leave a comment on our channel or reach out to us through social media. Share your personal stories, your challenges, and the strategies that have helped you. Your experiences might just inspire someone else who's going through a similar situation. We're all in this together, and by sharing, we create a supportive community where we can all learn and grow. So, don't be afraid to reach out and connect with us. We'd love to hear from you.
That's right, Julia. And to wrap things up, let's leave you with a final message. No matter what challenges you face, always remember that you are capable of overcoming them. Life is full of ups and downs, but your strength lies in how you rise after each fall. No storm lasts forever, and no matter how tough things may seem, you have the ability to keep going. Stay strong, stay focused, and remember, every day is a new opportunity to build your resilience and mental strength. You're not defined by the difficulties you face, but by how you choose to face them. So, keep pushing forward, keep believing in yourself, and never give up. We're rooting for you, and we'll be right here with you every step of the way. Take care, stay positive, and don't forget, you've got this.